Hey guys, this is Mark Fuller. I hope you have enjoyed the first two parts of our discussion about what we should be doing in this recession, financial moves we should be making, and which led us into part two of that discussion, which was about interest rates and the fact that the rates were 8%, and people were getting really spooked about it, and a lot of conversation was being had and is being had right now about the interest rates and is now a good time to buy, should you hold off, all of those things. That conversation is still raging, and I've had some great discussions since we released the first two videos, and I really want to follow up because you know what I realized over the length of my career, which began in 1992 in finance, and up until this present day, what I realize is we have a really poor financial and mathematical education system. And so, some financial professionals take for granted that people would know. They actually don't know. And, it's not their area of study. And we really weren't taught the basics as we were maturing into adults. And so we make a lot of decisions based on what we see on television, what we read in newspaper, and where media drives us to make decisions. And so in our last conversation, what we were talking about was if interest rates are 8%, should we wait for interest rates to come down to make any purchases? And what are the pluses and minuses of doing that? And if you recall, what I said was, it depends on your personal economy, like where your capital is, where you are financially, where you are in your journey as to whether making a move now makes sense. Because what I am sure of, because I came into the market when it was 8% in 1999 and 2000, I am certain that when the market thaws out, when the recession is over, interest rates will come down, when people will rush to the market because television and newspapers and everything will tell them to do so. And like lemmings, they will do exactly what they are told. And when they run to the market, they are going to, although interest rates are down, they are going to drive housing prices up. It is an absolute certainty that they will drive housing prices up. If you haven't seen the article from this summer where they showed that we are 6.5 million houses short in terms of what was expected for us to build every year. And because of COVID and because the price of construction materials tripled at one point, it's come back down because of all of the crises that we face with import, export, and everything. We are so many houses behind that it's going to take about a decade for us to possibly recover in terms of the number of homes that were supposed to be built and the pent-up demand in the market. What does that mean? That means that when we see the market come back, interest rates drop to 6% or below, what we're going to see is a rush to the market. Now, also, let's not forget the statistics. Statistics say that of all of the mortgages that exist, 80% of those mortgages are below 5%, and 70% of those mortgages are below 4%. The statistics also say that of the houses that are available in the better areas of the United States of America, the better suburban and hot cities in the United States and hot suburbs in the United States, a third of those houses are being bought by hedge funds and rented out. The statistics also say that of the houses that are available in the better areas of the United States of America, so there's only 2/3 of what's on the market is going to be purchased by individuals, number one. Who knows what percentage of that will go to everyday investors. And then the rest of that will go to regular homeowners who are buying for the first time or move up buyers or what have you. But understand that when interest rates are 8%, it's very unattractive for those who have homes already, who have mortgages at 3%, 4%, 5%, to give up those mortgages to trade up to 8%. But also, let's remember that 30% of all the houses in the United States of America are owned completely free and clear. Interest rates are not a concern for those owners. Those houses are not in play right now because those houses, again, are owned free and clear. But what I wanted to get to today, and I think that this is important, and if you will just indulge me, I really want you to understand the actual numbers around 8%. And what I want to do, I know some of you have less, some of you have more, some of you have much more. But I want to use an example, and then I want you to plug your own numbers into the example so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. And this is the example that I want to use. I want to illustrate for you on a $300,000 house whether you should purchase now or whether you should wait until the market thaws out. Why did I choose $300,000? Well, everything under $400,000 these days is basically entry-level housing. Those are townhouses, those are condos. In some areas, in some states and cities, that would be a single-family home and what have you. Not in a lot of places. I'm in Maryland, and in Maryland and Baltimore, all the surrounding areas and counties, $300,000 get you a townhouse or a condo in general. It does not get you very many single-family homes in the more metropolitan areas. So let's talk about this for a second, and I want you to take stock of these numbers and tell me whether it's really worth all the hype that we're hearing. So a $300,000 home right now at the interest rate of 8% where rates are, the principal and interest payment is $2,201.29. So let's just call that $2,200, right? Which is about what rent on an apartment is. That means that you are paying $7.34 per thousand for that mortgage. $7.34. Now, I want you to hold that in mind because, see, these are the things that don't get said when you are watching television, what these numbers really mean. When interest rates were 7%, that same $300,000 house, the payment was $1,995.91. So that's a difference of $206 on that interest rate going up a point, right? And so that's $6.65 if the interest rate was 7%, okay? Now, they're saying, we're screaming bloody murder, don't buy right now because you need to wait for interest rates to come down because that's what's going to help you. But my supposition is this. When interest rates come down, the price of entry-level houses, because that's who floods the market first, the people who see on TV that they've been told by television to go forward, they run to the market first. And when they run to the market, I'm telling you that these houses that are $300,000 are going to be $330,000, $340,000, $350,000, $375,000. And so now I want you to consider that if the interest rate comes down 2 points to 6%, but the cost of the house goes up to $350,000, $350,000 at 6% is a mortgage payment of $2,098.43 or $5.99, basically $6 per thousand, right? So the difference between a $300,000 house at 8% and a $350,000 house at 6% is $202. Now, my thesis is this. If the $202 matters to your bottom line, you probably should not be in the market to purchase a house. because you don't just want to own a home, you want to be comfortable in it. You want to be comfortable with the finances of it. You want to still have savings. You want to still have your lifestyle. You don't want to be house rich and cash poor. Please absorb that into your spirit. Do not be house rich and cash poor. And so when you're getting this advice to wait, here's one of the biggest reasons you don't want to wait. If it's 300 now, but 350 2 years from now, because of the demand flooding the marketplace because of lower interest rates, $50,000 more in your mortgage over 30 years will cost you 3 times that amount of extra money. So that extra $50,000 is going to cost you $150,000 more dollars in mortgage payments. Stop for a second, breathe, and understand what I just said. That $50,000 is going to cost you $150,000 more in mortgage payments. Okay? Go run the calculations independently. You'll see that what I'm saying is true. So, does it make sense for me to wait until interest rates come down but values go up due to demand? And the demand is going to be there because, as I said, we're still 6,500,000 homes short in the marketplace for new homes, which is only going to drive the price higher because when new homes come into that market after interest rates go down and builders begin to build seriously again, they're not going to price their houses at the rate of all these resales. They're going to say, hey, everything is new. The roof is new. The windows are new. Everything's new. So I'm going to need a premium to what resale houses are. And that premium is probably going to be $75,000 to $100,000. And this is how you end up with a brand new townhome costing $450,000, $500,000, which they do in the areas in Maryland. Bottom line, an attached house, if it is brand new, it's in the 4s and in the 5s. It is not in the 3s, okay? So I need you to also understand that $350,000 if interest rates dip all the way to 5% is $1,878.88. So basically $1,900. That means the savings would be $300 less a month than what the market is right now for that house. But again, that $50,000 is going to be $150,000 more in mortgage payments. So you've got to do the math. At the end of the day, the problem isn't the $200. It isn't the $300. The problem is your personal economy. If you ask yourself this question, if I made $2,000 more a month than I do right now, would the $200 matter to me? And the answer is no. The answer for everybody is no. So sometimes it's not what things cost, it's whether you can truly afford them. And when I say afford them, remember, I was a mortgage banker for 23 years. I still lend in commercial real estate. I still lend to people who need business financing and all those things. I deal with lending and money every single day of my life and have for the better part of the last 24 to 25 years. Okay? And what I am saying to you is, the problem is never what things cost. The problem is always, can you afford them? What is your cash flow? But you've got to look at the real numbers and what the consequences of those things are. While we're on the topic, I've got to say this. Some of you are thinking about making purchases of real estate and you're so obsessed with interest rate that you are going to invest your hard-earned cash to buy down the rate. This is a terrible idea. Why should you never buy down the rate? Well, let's say interest rate is 8%. You want to get down to 7 because you feel it'll cost you $200 less per month. Okay, fine. So you want to buy down from $300,000 at 8% at $2,200 down to $300,000 at 7%, and that'll cost you $1,995, or basically $2,000. So save $200 a month. Now, consider that the buy down is going to end up being about 10 grand. Now, take 10 grand, you divide 200 into it, and it tells you how many months it'll take you to just recoup the 10 grand that you threw into this transaction. That is 50 months, 4 years and 2 months to just recoup the 10 grand that you put into the transaction. What could you have done with that 10 grand? It could have made you money. Why would you do that with money? Even if that 10,000 is part of your safety net, it's more valuable to you in your possession, making you money, or as your safety net, than it is stuck in a house buying this thing down for $200. Again, if the $200 matters to you, you can't afford this transaction at all and should not make it. Are you listening to me? If it matters at this amount of money, you should not do this transaction. If $200 matters, you could do much more with this cash in a business, in your life, or for your safety if you don't have a lot of liquidity than putting it into this transaction. Please don't do it. I need you to understand that, because 4 years and 2 months of your life is too much to pay for this little buy down, right? When the market is going to give you that anyway. Let me tell you what is going to happen with most borrowers. Those that borrow money right now at 8%, sometime in the next 18 to 24 months, the market's going to go to 6% or less, and they are going to streamline down or refinance and get a lower interest rate at that time without spending the $10,000, without going through the drama. Why? Because that is the nature of the market. It has to come down at a certain point for commerce to keep going forward. So I need you to really look at the real numbers. I need you to look at your real numbers, you personally, not what the guy is saying on TV, not what Mark is saying. I need you to look at your finances. I need you to decide what is best for you financially, not based on some mythology. Remember, I'm the guy who says, what we consider financial literacy is completely illiterate. The save 10% of your income in a 401k and all of this other crazy stuff is all nonsense. But it's nonsense not because some of those habits are not good habits. It's nonsense because of where they tell you to put the money. Where they tell you to put the money only advantages the system. And unless you know how to advantage yourself inside of the system, you are hurting yourself by following those directions. So listen, I hope that you leave a comment or a question, and let's really talk about this thing, because I want you to win. I want you to find your way through this quagmire, and I want you to be richer on the other side of this recession. But to do that, you're going to have to get away from the mythology of what people are trying to tell you is the right thing to do. Your personal economy is the only thing that matters. This is Mark Fuller for Manager of Wealth. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I look forward to just sharing a lot of great information with you. I do very little pitching and selling of products and things like that on this channel, because that's not what it's about. I really want to give you things to think about. I want to enlighten you to what's really going on in the financial markets and the choices that you individually have. And I don't want you to overly generalize. I want you to look at your real situation and take advantage of your advantages. Again, this is Mark Fuller, Manager of Wealth. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much.